Hi everyone, we're Travel with Johnny and Will, and we are on board Allure of the Seas, and we're just currently docking in the port of Marseille.
Yeah, now this is the port we've been to before, a couple of times, but we're here obviously with my mum and aunt and Will's mum and dad, and they haven't been here, so we booked something a little different this time. But we are going to see what Marseille has to offer, so we'll be showing you a little bit of our day this morning on our tour that we've booked, and then let's see what happens when we get back on board as well.
But first, breakfast. So breakfast within the Solarium Bistro is served up buffet style. So there's hot food, there was cereals and continental stuff, there was a selection of fruits, there was your hams. So there was a big enough selection, just a shrunken down version of the Windjammer.
Yeah, and the thing is, not as many people go there. Now, I think maybe if we continue to go there throughout this cruise, it might become more popular, but that is something that I've noticed quite quickly here on Allure, is that because there are other places for people to have breakfast, it's just not as crammed, it hasn't felt as crammed and as busy. So when you dock in Marseille, again, because of the size of the ship, the cruise port is quite a distance out from the city centre, so you will have to pay for a shuttle bus service into the city centre. Now, there is also a free bus version that you can get, but again, it's quite the walk out of the cruise port to where you get that free bus. But we'll insert some footage from a previous cruise here that you can sort of see where you get that. But look, we're here travelling as a party of 6, and for those that have watched our channel for a while, they'll know that my mum and aunt have mobility issues, so we had then booked a private tour with Provence Amazing Tours, and this is just something that we found on Instagram, and we got chatting on Instagram and emailing them just about the kind of tour that we wanted, and for us, even though we've been to Marseille before, the others in our party hadn't, so we just sort of wanted a bit of a tour of the city, something around 4 hours, and they were able then to put together then something for us. So once we made our way off the ship, we came outside the terminal building and we met our driver, Laurent.
So the first stop on the tour was outside the Museum, which is close to the mouth of Marseille where the yachts come in and out. And he gave us an overview of that area and what it has looked like in the past. And then basically told us that they'd built this new museum and things like that. So we have been to the museum before, so we will link the video above.
So he then took us sort of further into Marseille, and we stopped off at the La Ville Charité, which basically he was telling us was the poor house. And inside there's an exhibition that you can pay to go into, and then there's this other little chapel which is free. You do need a ticket, which we found quite strange because it is free, but there's this little chapel inside that you can go and have a look around, and there is an art piece there in the middle of the little chapel hanging from the ceiling called Mère we Sea,
which means Mother of the Sea. And
it's quite strange.
It was quite strange. Yeah, so it's this hanging object, I don't want to say what it was, and there was fishes that were all like twirling and swirling around it. Actually, and then there was all these noises played by these speakers. So it sort of gave it a very eeriness to it.
So when I looked at the piece of art, I will just say what it is. I thought it was a breast, I thought it was a boob, but it looked like a very funny boob. And then actually we had read what the piece of artwork was, and it was actually a boob. So it was, and but it was nice. It was a nice wee chapel, and then we sort of walked around the grounds outside afterwards. Before then, our driver met us, and then he was explaining then to us that because we were in La Panière district, a neighbourhood, he sort of gave us directions then for a short walk through this neighbourhood, which would then take us to where he had parked his car. So we took a little walk. There's lots of little like handmade pottery shops.
Yeah.
There's a little shop I went into that sold like handmade pottery, bags, soaps and fragrances, and everything in the shop was literally handmade. But it's such a beautiful neighbourhood. You're walking down the sort of streets, and there's all this like artwork on the walls, and I sort of then noticed like there was people like outside their doors had like a little book sort of case with like books, so you could just like lift a book if you wanted a book, or if you wanted to get rid of a book, you get rid of a book. There was also like somebody had left like clothing and things out, and yeah, it was just sort of, it was nice. It was just had a nice sort of feel about it. But we headed then through this little neighbourhood then down to meet our driver, and he was basically parked across from the main cathedral, the Mayor Cathedral in Marseille.
And then from here, he was driving through these tiny back streets. They were pedestrianised streets, but obviously he's allowed on it as a registered taxi. And it was just crazy again, like just peeping and to get people out of the way. Yeah, it's very odd for us to see this sort of driving behaviour, because it's not something that we would ever contemplate doing in the UK.
And then he took us into this little cafe called La Pépite.
La Pépite.
Yeah, La Pépite. And basically, we were introduced to the owner of the cafe, and the main reason why we went here is because with Will's mum being celiac, this cafe only served food that was gluten-free and lactose-free. And the owner had sort of told us about how his wife was a chef, and basically because they had a child who had these like intolerances, she then developed her cooking skills and things like that to start making dishes which were gluten and lactose free. And there was quite an extensive menu. We both had the same thing actually, was the crepes.
Yeah.
And they were served with a fried egg and some cream cheese and red onion.
Yeah.
Really nice, and considering there was no gluten in it, and normally most stuff with no gluten in it doesn't really taste that good, it was alright. It was quite nice. It was tasty enough.
I can definitely see the need, like if being a French person and not being able to eat bread, it must be extremely difficult for them to actually fit into the society.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Per woman and her struggles.
I know, but it was. But look, they're making a good living at it, and actually, whenever we were leaving, we could see that there was people. Like there was sort of three little cafes.
Yeah.
And her cafe and another cafe was really busy, and then the one in the middle was like there was two people sitting at it. You know, so definitely testimony to them.
So after this, he took us on a little coastal route. And what was quite good was he actually opened up the sunroof, and I stood up. I'm sure this wouldn't be allowed in other countries, but I did get a few looks, to be fair. So hopefully I've got some good footage. And then after this, we headed then uphill to the Notre Dame de la Gare Cathedral to get a beautiful view of the city and to see the cathedral itself.
Again, we've been here before, so we didn't go inside.
No.
But normally where the buses leave you off, it's normally a steep climb up to the cathedral. So this time, with him being in a car, we were able to sort of go right up into the little car park at the very top. We'll link obviously as well here in the video our previous video whenever we visited the inside of this cathedral, so you can check it out for yourselves.
I think having the taxi tour personalized to you, it's almost like a cheat sheet into getting the best locations, getting closer to the action. So yeah, we would definitely recommend doing something like this. But yeah, the view from up here is spectacular. We've always been very blessed with the weather, so we've always got a really good picture, and you could see the cruise terminal, and we could see our ship from this point.
Yeah. So we headed then back to the ship. We had a really enjoyable tour with Provence, amazing tours. We definitely recommend you checking it out. We will put a link to their website in the description below as well. And I think whenever we do come back to Marseille, because we do have another cruise booked where we will visit here, we possibly will take one of their other tours and go a bit further afield, maybe, and looking at the region of Provence as well. But big shout out to Laurent. He was very nice.
Yeah, he was very nice.
And very patient in explaining things, and just a really nice guy too.
So back at the ship now, and it was it was a really hot day, wasn't it, Johnny?
Yeah.
So we made our way to deck 15 to the little sprinkles, which is just someone standing and serving ice cream. They have vanilla and chocolate together, and then just chocolate.
You would easily miss it because it looks like two cupboards.
Yeah. it's just someone standing, there's a door open and there's an ice cream machine. But if you didn't know what that person did, you might just think they were cleaning up plates or something. You could miss it.
Yeah, but the ice cream was really nice, and it is free. So again, you can fill your boots basically. But it was really nice, and it was just nice to sort of sit, chill, eat our ice cream in the sweltering heat.
And then we went up to one deck up, and there was this amazing breeze. So I think we could have just sat there for about 30 minutes. It was really nice. So my dad was asking me where like the mini golf was, where the zip line and the slide at the back of the ship was. So we walked around then to that area, and then there was people on the flow rider. So we stood there for a bit and watched them. Don't know how these people can do it.
No.
They're very talented. I don't know if I want to try the flow rider because I think I just get water up my nose, because when people fall off it, obviously smaller people are going to be taken further. It's almost like they're launched to the back wall. I won't be launched because I obviously weigh a little bit more than a child, but
you could see that the people that were on it yesterday clearly have either done it before or have been like taking lessons or following the instruction, because when they did fall, they all seemed to fall a certain way, not just down like a heap of, you know, they all sort of fell a certain way in order to protect themselves then when they were thrown back. But I
might try like the getting on the knees thing potentially.
Okay.
But I definitely don't think I could stand up. I don't even think they would let you if it was your first time. They'd be like, you have to do something else first.
But then afterwards you then did the dry slide, which is called the Ultimate Abyss.
Yeah.
You enjoyed it on the first day, so you decided to give it another go.
Yeah. It was...
You seemed to come down quicker that time.
Yes, I came down a lot quicker because I said to you, no, my mum had said, go you down and get a video of him coming out.
No.
I was literally out probably before you'd even made it to the lift.
Because you were waiting at the bottom end of the boardwalk by the time I made it down.
I think I had laid, the first day they said hold it like you're holding like the reins of a horse.
A horse, right.
But I must have like been holding myself up a little bit. So this time I held it, but I like put my back completely flat, and I think I went down a lot quicker.
So we decided then to come indoors, out of the heat for a bit, and enjoy the nice cool air conditioning. And we went to the Schooner Bar to get some drinks. And whilst we were sitting there enjoying our first drink, the cruise director had made an announcement that there would be a parade in the Royal Promenade. So we sat on for it. Now, it was a bit bizarre, but it was actually quite fun. So it was basically like all the entertainment staff, from like the kids club staff to the stars of Mamma Mia to the ice skaters, the aqua theatre divers and everything. If you were entertainment staff, you were involved in this parade. And it was kind of, I think the easiest way, it did have a bit of a meaning, was just about, there was a bit of like a fight and all. It was kind of like, look, why are we fighting? We're on our holidays. We're on one of the biggest ships and everything like this. And so let's just be friends. It was everybody like kissed and made up and lived happily ever after. So it was 15 minutes. It was a wee bit bizarre, but it was quite cheesy and fun. But here's a quick look.
My favourite part was the shark fins that just kept going around and around. And then at one point near the end, there was two people like sword fighting, and the shark fin was just like blocking the way. I don't know, I just found the shark fins hilarious. Because I just imagined this little person inside a bicycle, like controlling it. I thought it was funny.
So then we made our way back to the cabin just to get ready for our evening. And tonight then, it was Italian night in the main dining room. And later on in this cruise, we've actually booked to go to Giovanni's, which is a specialty Italian restaurant on board. So we decided then that we just sort of didn't really want to do Italian night sort of twice.
Yeah.
So we decided to ditch the American Icon Grill and instead check out the Windjammer. We don't normally go to buffets for our dinner, but we did. It wasn't that busy. And one of the things we did notice about the Windjammer was that they seem to, because there's two sides of it, they'll have one side open, and then after a certain period of time they close it and they open the other side, just then to allow nearly the one side to like cool down, breathe a bit, people to leave, tables to be cleared, and then they reopen it again. So it is quite a good way of how they do it. And of course the other thing that we do like about the Windjammer is the washy guys and girls, because they really do make sure that everybody going into that buffet restaurant either washes their hands or sanitizes at the very least.
Yeah, so I had a stir fry.
You did, yeah.
And then I had like a little cookie for my dessert. But yeah, it was really nice.
There was quite a lot to pick from. I had
I also had the cauliflower soup.
Oh, did you?
And I added little bits of bacon, and that was really good.
I'm saying that, but just for the purposes of everybody watching, we were sitting at two different tables because I was sitting with my mum and aunt. So just in case you thought we were on different holidays. But yeah, I had a little salad to begin with, and then I had a pork chop with some, I had a baked potato, some steamed veg, some gravy. I also then had some cookies as well. And I had a little cake as well, like a little tart as well, which was quite yummy.
So in terms of the selection for my mum being gluten-free, it was like the third station along had a sign that said no gluten, gluten-free, and that whole station had no gluten on it. Now my mum, being my mum, unfortunately went to other stations and said, is this gluten-free? And had a plate already of food that she'd picked from it. And the mum was like, no, that station's gluten-free. So it's like, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it understand the rules of the third station being the gluten-free. So
Poor Gwenda. But yeah, there was plenty of there was plenty there for her to eat. So there was. So she didn't go hungry. She definitely didn't go hungry. But it is good that even in the buffet restaurants that they do have that section, because it will make it easier for people with allergies, to just go to that one area. So this evening, we didn't really have much planned. We hadn't any shows or anything booked, so we just had basically a few drinks before calling it an early night, because we had been up early this morning. We've sort of been up early for like 3 mornings in a row now.
Yeah, I think the exhaustion just sort of
just caught up with us.
It really did.
So we did have an early night after a few drinks, where we then headed back up to our cabin.
So that concludes our day 3 on board Allure of the Seas, sailing around the Western Med. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider giving us a thumbs up down below and click subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.